Chapter 17. Kai. I would have stood at the edge of that desert until she walked back into my arms. That is, if I weren't the damn enforcer of Ilya. I pace atop the familiar worn into the carpet. My desk sits to the right, patiently waiting to be relieved of the piled paperwork decorating its chipped wood. Guard rotations, training schedules, and safety precautions beg for my attention. But only one thing holds it. Her. I have thought of nothing else since watching Peyton stride into that sinister stretch of sand, hair glinting like a blade and legs swift like one who spent their whole life running. The Silver Savior began her first trial, and I stood there, watching her form slowly shrink into the horizon. It was Kit's insistence that had me reluctantly returning to the castle. He needed me to be the enforcer even when she is not around. The words had stunned me for a moment, had me glimpsing that suspicion Pei spoke of. Perhaps the king really does know how tragically in love I am with his betrothed. Perhaps he is as well. We haven't spoken since our journey back to the castle, him returning quietly to his study, and me to the training yard. Only after hours of shouted corrections and tedious demonstrations, I find myself pacing the weathered carpet blanketing my bedchamber. She has less than 3 hours to walk into the throne room with that crown in hand, and some selfish part of me hopes that she won't. As if that were a solution. If I don't marry her, I have no choice but to kill her. Kit's words haunt my thoughts, dash my hopes, because if Peyton fails any of these trials, her fate will be far worse than marriage. It will be death. As much as I want her to be mine, I want her to be death's far less. I rake a hand through my hair, feet still treading their familiar path across the carpet. I've never felt so completely useless. Every fiber of my being begs to find hers, despite duty trapping me within these castle walls. Though, it's comforting to know that she doesn't need my help. The Silver Savior has made that abundantly clear since the day she earned the title. And yet, one day, I hope she does. Just to show her the extent of what I'm willing to do if only she asks. Unable to pace my bedroom any longer, I throw open the door and stride out into the dim hallway. Imperials don't hesitate to move out of my path, skittering servants doing the same. My steps quicken and faces blur as I pass. The plush carpet beneath my shoes is something I had never taken the time to notice until Adina, Peyton's other half, had brought it to my attention before that final trial ball. And with each step towards the West Tower, I focus on the feel of it to distract from my reeling thoughts. My quick pace through the castle has each dark hall slipping swiftly past. I'm draped comfortably in shadows until a puddle of light laps at my shoes, rippling around my faltering steps. It pours from beneath a door that hasn't been opened in years. At least, not by anyone other than Father. I reach hesitantly for the handle, feeling suddenly like a disobeying child. I've spent my whole life avoiding this room due to the king's orders. But he is not here anymore to punish me for my defiance. The door creaks open on hinges unaccustomed to serving their purpose. A lamp spills dull light into the room, old enough to have the volt power slowly flickering from it. I sweep my gaze over the preserved chamber, landing on a tarp-covered bed adorned with royalty. Kit sits stiffly on the dusty sheet with the jewelry box clutched between inky fingers. His tired gaze flicks to mine, only slightly surprised to see me standing uncomfortably in the doorway. It's weird, being in here, huh? After all those years of wondering what was behind that door. Setting the wooden box aside, he stands with a pained laugh. All that waiting, just for it to be a regular old bedroom. I feel oddly trapped beneath the doorframe. It seems wrong to step into a piece of a past that doesn't belong to me. Iris Moira was Kit's mother, not mine. And I alone have known just how desperately he wished to know her, even at a glimpse. Father shouldn't have kept this from you, I say quietly, among other things. But he knew he could, because I would always come back to him. His gaze grows distant. Always obey. I slip my hands into the pockets at my sides. So, what changed? He contemplates this for a moment. Power. When you have nothing, you live only for those who promise you everything. You lived for Father, I reiterate. Now I live for legacy. He smiles. For us. I dip my head, offering the pale carpet my grin. I can't say it isn't nice to serve a king that actually gives a shit about me. You're my little brother, Kit teases. I've been forced to give a shit about you my whole life. I chuckle softly. Sorry to be an inconvenience. He shrugs. It was pretty annoying when you started being able to kick my ass. Well, you should be used to it by now. Easy, brother. Kit's boyish grin has returned to his face after far too long. Let's not start a brawl in the one room we haven't yet. I let this moment soak in, relishing every laugh that passes between us. Alone with him, I don't think of the future ahead, or the ring wrapped around Peyton's finger. And I'm grateful for that. Grateful to just be brothers. I'll leave you to your thoughts, I say, after a long while of talking like we used to. I didn't mean to interrupt. Just saw the light under the door and figured I'd check it out. Nothing special, huh? Kit muses. My expression softens. It is for you. He nods, thanking me for my understanding. I nod back. The door screeches shut, leaving my brother alone with what is left of the mother he never knew. It's not long before I'm making my way up the spiral staircase of the West Tower. I remember a time when a trip to the rickety turret felt hopeful. Now, my heart pounds faster with each step higher. The air grows cold and damp in a way I've now come to associate with the presence of death. I swore to never set foot in the infirmary again. Though, I've been here several times since making that vow, and each time I stare blankly at the wooden door atop the stairs, allowing myself a split second of hesitation before pushing it open and stepping into the large room behind. It looks exactly as it had the day Ava died. Cots line the walls, though my gaze avoids one in particular. The room is just as plain and dreary as it had been all those years ago. Heading for the only occupied bed, I nod at the healer who hurries past, more than happy to give us some privacy in exchange for a moment beyond this dreary tower. I walk towards my mother slowly, taking in the dark circles below her eyes and the frail shoulders peeking above crisp covers. My throat tightens at the sight. She looks worse than when I last left her. My sweet boy. Her tired eyes brighten when they land on me. You're home. I was so worried. A wave of guilt hits me in the gut like a blow. I should have come to see you sooner. I take a seat in the chair beside her. These past days have been difficult. The look she gives cuts right through me. I know that, but you can also admit how hard it is for you to be up here. See the cot she used to occupy? Mother glances around the infirmary, gaze haunted. I understand your pain. I duck my head, Of course, she understands. It was her daughter she grieved. I thought I was broken after losing Ava, she continues softly, but it seems that the loss of your father will be the death of me. My teeth grind together at her words, and every one I wish to say in return. I could never imagine father deserving more of my grief than Ava, and when I look at my mother in this moment, I'm angry that she ever let her daughter be a secret, die a secret. But I say none of this to the woman on her deathbed. I study her pale face and distant gray eyes. How are you feeling? Kai, it's not long now, she says simply, and don't talk like that. Bury me as close to him as possible. Mother, please. I want to reach out and grab his hand. At those whispered words, it's I who grabs her hand, pulling it close to my chest. You will be close to him. I promise. Swallowing, I add, but that won't be for a long while. She shakes her head with a sad smile. I'll miss you, my pretty boy. Keep taking care of Kit for me. Her dark lashes flutter. I regret not being there for him. It's not your fault, I murmur. Kit has always been stubborn when it comes to you. Because I'm not really his mother. A long pause. I know. I squeeze her hand. He loves you. I know he does. In his own way, yes. He even came to visit me while you were gone on your mission. He mentioned that, I say softly. It was brief. Her bottom lip trembles slightly. It's a sight I never thought I'd see from a woman of such power and grace. Kit misses him dearly. I know, I whisper, because I do. I know exactly how much Father's death affected my brother, even when he didn't wish to show it. Have you heard about what is happening in the kingdom? Yes, she says evenly. Your father always was more occupied with the ordinaries than the affairs of Ilya. I wait patiently for an elaboration worth the trouble Father left for Kit. But she says nothing more on the matter, which is unsurprisingly disappointing. Queen Milo is nothing if not loyal and loving towards her husband. Though she has told the occasional story of the days in which she once despised her king, these moments of reminiscence were only prompted by several cups of wine and told with hazy memory. But even now, Mother refuses to speak ill of the man she loved. It's stubbornly admirable. And Peyton? I ask slowly. You know of his engagement to the ordinary? The ordinary? She muses, gaze sharp. That is not all she is, especially to you. I drop her hand, securing a mask of indifference onto my face despite the quickening beat of my heart. I don't know what you've heard, but... Oh, don't go denying it, Kai. Her laugh morphs into a harsh cough. I reach for the glass of water atop the bedside table. Pressing it to her cracked lips, she swallows greedily before managing. I knew from that first dinner, the one with all the purging trial contestants, that there was something between you two. I blow out a breath. Mother. And then she went and killed your father, and things got complicated. She says this so bluntly that I nearly laugh. After another dry cough, she adds, though that might not have been enough for you to hate her. I know how you felt about him. He never really was much of a father to me, I state. So, no. I can't say I was terribly grieved by his death. The words are harsh, and laced with an anger I rarely let myself feel for him anymore. But it is his wife I spit them at. And for that reason, I open my mouth to apologize. Instead, her hand grips mine, gaze pleading. I'm sorry for what he did to you. And I'm sorry that I never stopped him. Tears brim beneath the gray eyes we share. I just wanted you to be strong. And look at you. You're formidable, but that is no excuse. I shouldn't have stayed quiet about your training sessions with him. Shh. I cut off her words with a single sound. It's okay. You made me strong. A tear rolls down her cheek, and I wipe it away with a knuckle. You made me strong. I whisper again. Equal parts sob and laughter slips past her lips. Not strong enough to stay away from her, it seems. I shake my head, smiling slightly. No, not strong enough to stay away from her. Kai, she murmurs, suddenly serious. She is your brother's. I look away. I know. Don't let her come between the two of you. Her tone is stern. Promise me, Kai. A shake of my head. It's a little late to be making that promise, Mother. Then make me a different one. She struggles to lift her head from the pillow, words strong in a way her body is not. Don't let her be your weakness. Sometime later, when I eventually stand to leave the infirmary, she reminds me of that promise I have yet to make. In return, I remind her that Peyton Gray has been my weakness since that very first dinner before the purging trials.
Chapter 18. Peyton. I'm teetering atop the coffin. The dirty crown rests in the crook of my elbow, sliding to my shoulder when I lift my arms again. I reach up into the darkness, desperate to find the hole I'd fallen through. The wooden lid caves beneath my weight, having nothing better to do than rot after decades spent in this crypt. My head pounds, and the blood oozing from my body is only aiding the dizziness. Only the promise of moonlight on my skin has me pushing through every bit of pain. And when my fingers brush a jagged piece of wood dangling above, I nearly laugh in relief. Hands searching blindly, I manage to find what feels like the remaining frame of the trapdoor. With a deep breath, I curl my bleeding fingers around the wooden lip and tug. This time, I do let out a hysterical laugh when it holds. I don't bother testing its strength again before pulling myself upward with a grunt. Two things happen within the span of a single moment. The first being that my head collides with a splintered piece of what used to be the trapdoor above. After letting out a gasp of pain and surprise, the second thing follows soon after. I have the eeriest feeling that I'm no longer alone. A sudden chill pebbles my skin as I drag myself up onto the cave floor. I haven't even taken a full breath before I'm scrambling to my feet and heading for the splotch of night sky beyond the tunnel. An icy sort of fear grips me at the thought of what it is I may have just done. The crown around my arm grows heavy, as if being pulled back to its owner. A panicked sound finds its way out of me at the thought. The dead are not meant to be disturbed, and I may have awakened something that no one else has dared to. I shake my head at the absurdity of it all. Mind tricks, I whisper, stumbling forward. This is all in my head. As the mouth of the cave grows closer, I find myself looking over my shoulder and into the yawning darkness behind. It is all-consuming, that lightless expanse, and I'm nearly petrified by it. I force myself to turn back towards that awaiting night and push on. Blood spills into my eye, demanding I use the back of my filthy hand to wipe it from my vision. That swarm of oversized bats has thoroughly torn open my skin and left claw-shaped slivers to decorate my body in their absence. Beyond, the starry sky awaits me, mere steps away. My pace quickens, heart racing in anticipation of my reunion with the night. I brace a hand against the wall, feel the last stretch of cold stone before shadows slither across the ground, lapping at my feet. 3 figures step into the entrance of the cave, blocking me from freedom. Moonlight illuminates their backs to outline their broad figures. I take a slow step back, swallowing a scream of fear and frustration. Bandits. "Thanks for getting that crown for us. Now hand it over," one of them grumbles, voice like gravel beneath the bandana covering his mouth. "And if you're quick about it, we might not even take that shiny ring from your finger." My wounds ache, but I force myself to muster whatever strength I have left. Fingers flexing at my side, I focus on the feel of my dagger while mapping out my next moves. Only when I've gathered every bit of brutality that lurks within me, I speak. My voice is scared and small, and if the men bothered to listen closely, they might just hear the danger lacing it. "Take it all. I don't care. Just please don't hurt me." I extend my hand, presenting the ring to them. The dirty diamond glints enticingly enough to have a man stepping forward. I can practically feel the sly grin beneath his bandana as he reaches for my hand, intent on pulling the band from my finger. I calm my mind, shut out my soft heart, and stain my soul once again. My fingers close around the man's wrist before I'm pulling him into the awaiting dagger now gripped tightly in my other hand. The blade sinks into his stomach with a sickening sound. Blood pours from the wound as the bandit grunts weakly. I ignore the dull ache in my chest. This is precisely what I feared. Myself. Adina's light within me sputters out. Pulling the dagger from his gut, I watch him fall to my feet. I stand over the dying body, chest heaving and hand bloody. The men gawk as I slip the crown off my arm to clutch it in my fist. My voice is ragged, hand beckoning in challenge. "If you want this, come and take it." The larger of the 2 remaining men charges at me, seemingly awakened from his stupor. He swings a massive arm that I easily duck under. After spending so much time in complete darkness, my eyes seem suddenly sharper than before. Crown in hand, I stand to my full height before sending its pointed jewels careening towards his skull. He yelps as blood gushes from his temple, stumbling back to let the final man have a go at me. I dance on the balls of my feet, ignoring every wince of pain at the movement. When the last bandit pulls a long dagger from his belt, I let the crown clatter to the cave floor, tightening my hold on the hilt of my own weapon. He lunges, blade flashing. I manage to rotate my body before he can stab me in the chest, but the sudden searing pain shooting from my shoulder tells me I wasn't fast enough. He swipes at me again, forcing my feet farther back into the cave. Analyzing each one of his movements, I let him jab at me again. Arm extended and chest open, he's made himself an easy target. Holding my dagger by its blade, I cock my arm and let the weapon fly. It pierces his chest, has him staggering back before eventually slumping against the cave wall. I watch his body slide down the stone, staining it with a streak of scarlet. I blink at the 2 bodies sprawled before me. Blink again when a very much alive one comes barreling towards me. Blood runs down his face from the gash I'd given him with a century-old crown. I don't have the chance to move my leaden feet before large arms are wrapped around my middle. He shoves me against the wall, my skull meeting stone. Spots swim before my eyes to blot out what little vision I have. My cry of pain is weak, the tired body it crawls from unable to muster anything more. A rough hand has found its way around my throat. Fingers squeeze until I can no longer breathe. He watches me choke, smiling at the sight. I claw at his hand, kick at his legs. With blurry vision, I find whatever fight is left inside me, whatever sliver of my soul begs to stay in this life. And with that last wrinkle of resolve, folded deep inside my crumpled being, I drive my knee into his groin. His hand slips from my throat as he doubles over, allowing me time to slide away from the wall. My own bloody hand closes around the back of his bowed neck. I don't let myself think as I slam his head against the cave wall again and again. Blood sprays from the impact, splattering my face in that sickly warmth of another's life. It's animalistic, this need to stay alive, to tear apart anything that stands between me and my next breath. The growl in my throat does not belong to me, nor do the hands that repeatedly sink a skull into stone. When the red fades from my vision, I let his limp body fall to my feet. Adina's warmth returns shyly, as though her very memory does not recognize the creature I've become. I'm shaking, every part of me trembling in fear of what I've done, in fear of myself. A sort of numbness creeps over me as I step around the still bodies. The crown sits innocently on the ground, despite some of the gems being coated with blood. It glitters beside the body adorning my dagger. My stomach churns at his vacant gaze, wide with the shock of death's swift arrival. I look away before yanking the blade from his chest, and with the crown's sharp points fitted between my fingers, I turn towards my awaiting freedom. Keeping my gaze forward, I don't dare look down at the stone floor now slicked with blood. Instead, I focus on that starry night, ahead and beckoning. I trip over my own feet in anticipation of the open sky. Scrambling from the cave's gaping mouth, I fall to my knees on the rocky path. A crazed laugh bubbles out of me as I tilt my head to the sky. Moonbeams stroke my face as a soft breeze tangles my filthy hair. I swipe a hand over my face, smearing mud, blood, and the sticky residue of guilt. But I'm laughing again, strained yet relieved. Adina's light, however dim, is returning to my soul. I am alive. I, an ordinary, survived a trial. Again. My eyes fall to the long path ahead and the comforting field of poppies beyond. Farther still is the city I'll have to trudge through before marching into the castle, crown in hand. I lift my crazed gaze to the moon, unsure how much time I have before midnight. With that sense of urgency returning to my weary mind, I force shaking legs to stand beneath me. Soon after, I'm quickening my pace, body sore, but hope swelling. With every step, I grow closer to becoming a queen. With every step, I grow closer to a united Ilya.
Chapter 19. Kai. My foot taps a steady beat against the marble floor. Members of the court mill about the throne room, having used the last 3 hours as an excuse to drink and sloppily trade gossip among themselves. The countdown to midnight has become nothing more than an exclusive party of elites. Forgotten goblets of wine litter every flat surface, while others can be found sloshing in the hands of noble men and women. Scanning the room and what obvious boredom fills it, I take a sip of my own wine, savoring the biting sweetness on the back of my tongue. I've been leaning against a towering pillar for more than an hour now, content to stay tucked within the chaos. After my visit with Mother, I reluctantly joined the court to restlessly await Peyton's arrival. My wondering gaze continually returns to the large doors at the opposite end of the throne room, in the hope she will stride through them, because the alternative would mean that something happened to her, and I simply refuse to entertain that spiraling thought. I will her to walk through those doors, if not for this kingdom, then for me. I need her to come back to me. She is willingly my weakness, and yet nothing has ever made me stronger, and I fear what I will become if... You've been staring at the door since you got here. I turned to face a grinning Jax, his hands shoved into the pockets of 2 short pants. Not the whole time, I state smoothly. I've managed to catch you sneaking sips of wine from Andy's glass. His grin shifts, suddenly sheepish. I don't know what you're talking about. I cross fidgeting arms over my chest, chuckling. Really? Why don't you go ahead and walk in a straight line for me then? The mere question has him swaying on his feet.
Because maybe I don't want to.
He leans against the pillar in a comical attempt at nonchalance. At least one of us is having a good time. I sigh out the words, my gaze straying back to the doors.
I could finish that for you,
Jack says, pointing to the cup in my hand.
I mean, if you're not going to.
I tilt my head against the cool marble.
Oh, what the hell?
I mumble, handing the goblet to him. It's not doing me any good. He's tipped his head back, greedily gulping the wine despite a ribbon of it dribbling down his chin to stain the dark skin beneath. Easy, Jay. It's a struggle not to laugh as I tug the cup from his sticky hands. I better not have to carry you out of here tonight. He gives me a toothy grin.
Hey, I've helped
A hiccup interrupts the word.
Carry you from a party more than once.
I can't exactly argue on behalf of nights I don't remember, so instead I settle with a simple, if her life weren't at stake right now, I guarantee I'd be much more fun tonight. His confused look is only exaggerated by the alcohol that's loosening his features.
But why are you so worried about Peyton? Isn't that Kit's job? They're engaged, after all.
I open my mouth before promptly shutting it. My gaze travels across the room, skipping between the several circles of gossiping court members. I wonder how many of them whisper the same question. Why does the future enforcer worry for his brother's betrothed? Is it simply due to loyalty and protection over the king? Or perhaps something far more scandalous? I suppose the truth leans more towards the latter. But reducing my feelings for Peyton to something as juvenile as a scandal is absurdity. Only, it does not matter that every beat of my heart belongs to her, because she does not belong to me. Turning my attention back towards an awaiting Jax, I open my mouth to spew an answer he likely won't remember in the morning. That is when the doors swing open. Everything fades away, forgotten in her presence. The future queen of Ilia strides into the throne room, and every elite falls silent. She is covered in dirt, streaked with blood. It freckles her face in a gruesome addition to the 28 ones I know stretch across the bridge of her nose. Large tears in her clothing reveal jagged cuts beneath, softened only by the mud accompanying them. My eyes trail down the length of her, knowing just how much that blood must be affecting her. It's coating her temple, her shoulder, her hands. Her hands. There, gripped between scarlet-stained fingers, hangs a crown. The rest of the court seems to recognize her achievement at the same moment, resulting in a collective gasp that ripples across the room. I push off the pillar, eyes wide as I study the lost relic from afar. A crack crawls up one of the sides where a splotch of blood stains the large gem there. The rest of it remains covered in mud, just like the woman holding it. Peyton's piercing gaze travels over the crowd as she watches them take her in. No one dares speak, dares move beneath her commanding stare. But when that blood-splattered face turns in my direction, I nearly smile. This formidability is not unfamiliar to me. I've seen it within her since the moment she saved my life. Her eyes meet mine, and it feels like relief. She reflects my sentiment with a slight softening of her expression. But it doesn't last long. It can't. Not with this audience. So I let her go. Let her pretend. Let her morph back into the queen she will become. All it takes is a single slow nod of my head. She understands, and meets the king's gaze with a newfound fortitude. My eyes flick to the dais, seeing something akin to awe settled on Kit's features. And I can only assume that my expression looks the same. She takes another step into the throne room, pushing aside her pain for the betrayal of what is far more potent: power. Every wound is on display. She wears them proudly, allowing each pair of eyes to sweep over her. Blood drips from the gash at her temple, staining her hair and spilling a trail of crimson into her eye. With strides never slowing and face unflinching, she wipes the blood with the back of an already stained hand. I push slowly through the crowd, my gaze unable to stray from such eminence. But watching isn't nearly enough. I could fall to my knees, beg to be the only one worthy of witnessing her. Clothes torn and body bloody, she slows before the dais. I shift on my feet, knowing the weight of those piercing eyes now pinned on my brother. Kit clears his throat, blinking at the scene before him. When he finally finds his voice, it's to declare, "Ladies and gentlemen of the court, it seems Peyton Gray has successfully completed her first trial." And with that, Peyton's lips lift. She raises the crown then, matching its bloody and mud-streaked appearance. I smile before she's even done it, wide enough to show those damn dimples she loves to hate. Yes, I smile when she pushes the crown onto her head. It sits atop her blood-streaked hair, drawing gasps from the gaping court. My breath catches as she stands before the king, every bit his queen-to-be. With a slight nod to Kit, she turns slowly towards the court. Her sudden smile catches even me by surprise, the flash of her teeth white against the dirt-streaked face framing it. She inclines her head then, dipping it towards each side of the throne room. The movement is nearly taunting, as if daring any elite to try to tear the crown from her head. Her gaze is a challenge that travels around the room, but with one final dip of her head, she turns back to Kit. He stands, accepting her silent invitation. Stepping from the dais, he offers Peyton an arm she readily takes. I feel suddenly hollowed out as the happy couple stride down the aisle. I'm stunned by the sinking bite of bitterness. This shock of envy is quickly swallowed by my resolve, focused only on being rid of this crowd, seeing her. I push through the shifting bodies, unburdened by the need to be polite. Murmurs grow into a gentle roar even before the royal couple steps from the throne room. It's difficult to shove against the shocked sea of people now milling mindlessly about, but I'm nearly at the door now and a hand tugs at my arm. I turn to find Andy looking alarmingly serious.
Don't steal her away from him when they finally get a moment together.
Unspoken words hang in the air between us. The corner of my mouth twitches. I don't need to steal her away.
No,
She says smoothly.
you just kick down her door when she isn't answering you.
My voice is low. Don't start, Andy. She shakes her head at me, saddened by what she sees.
They're engaged, Kai. You can't have her.
Yes, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to accept that fact. I turn away and push through the doors. They are standing in the hallway, bodies close and voices hushed. Her eyes meet mine over Kit's shoulder. I quicken my pace, smother my jealousy, and open my damn mouth.
Chapter 20. Peyton. The crown grows heavy on my head. I can't imagine the neck pain royals must endure, though it seems I'll find out firsthand. My arm is pressed tightly within Kit's, but he doesn't seem to shy away from the blood and dirt I mar his pristine tunic with. Eyes, so many of them, skimming over my disheveled body. I've never let myself bleed in front of so many elites, never let them see me so weak, and for that reason, I keep my head high and gaze forward. Pain laces every movement, slows each step. I force my aching body to keep up its charade until I've made it out the doors. My legs shake, barely able to support me after my long trek through the city. But Kit's arm is a comfort, a disguised source of support that I lean on heavily. The doors loom, as does the prospect of relief. Every head turns to follow us out of the throne room, and it's only when the countless pairs of eyes are sealed from sight that I slump fully against Kit. "Just a little further," he murmurs, his arm now wrapped around me. "Let's get you to the wall." I let him guide me, and even more difficult, let him see me struggle. His hold is hesitant and hovering, as if unsure how much he wishes to help. It's unfamiliar, his touch, so unlike the claiming feel of his brother's. The crown slips atop my bloody strands of hair, the ones I'm trying very hard to ignore. Kit's face ducks towards mine when I slump against the wall. He sounds as unsure as he looks. "Are you all right?" I nearly rasp out a laugh. "You know, I've been better." He almost smiles at that. "You were..." He clears his throat, rebuilding that indifferent distance between us. "You did well in there." "I was just trying not to fall on my face," I pant. "No need for that." He glances over my battered form. "You're wearing enough blood as it is." I swallow. "You have no idea." Despite the heavy feel of his gaze roaming my face, I avoid it. Understanding my unspoken desire for a change of topic, he states, "You retrieved the crown." At the mention of it, I happily pull the heavy accessory from my head. "Here, my body aches enough without this thing trying to snap my neck." "Well," Kit takes the crown slowly, "I'm sure you'll be used to it soon enough." "Right," I say awkwardly. Thought of our engagement has his gaze dropping to the ring still clinging to my finger. Emotion flits from ear to ear as he gently lifts my hand. The clearing of his throat turns into a slight cough. "We will have to get this cleaned." He runs a thumb over the muddy diamond. Then his gaze lifts to mine, calculating in a way that surprises me. But his next words are far more startling. "After that, we'll ensure the ring finds its way back onto the correct finger." My heart stutters against bruised ribs. I look down, eyes snapping to the ring still decorating my right hand. Still exactly where Kai had left it the night before my trial. I never put it back. My mouth opens, ready to spew an excuse, spin the truth into something less damning. Kit has already expressed his concern for my relationship with Kai, and this has all but confirmed it. I can feel the panic that pushes against my blood-splattered face, slowly rearranging my features into something all too incriminating. That is when my eyes wander over the king's shoulder, as if pulled there by a tether I can't seem to untangle myself from. A gray gaze locks with mine, and I can read the relief within it at the sight of me. My body trembles, my throat burns. I ache to fall into his arms. I made it back to him. I lived to spend another day pretending I'm not in love with him. Kai's long strides carry him towards us to spare me from spewing a lie to the king. Only then does the enforcer tear his attention from me, pinning it on Kit. "The court seems a bit restless, brother. You might want to go back in there and say a few words." One moment, the king's gaze is flicking between the two of us, seeming to piece together our puzzle of pretend. And in the next, he directs cheery words towards his brother. "Yes, I suppose I should. I'll also announce the ball we'll be hosting tomorrow night in honor of this remarkable achievement." I force a smile, though he wasn't speaking to me. "Thank you, but I'm not sure I'll be up for dancing." His gaze meets mine after a long moment. "I'll have a healer sent to your rooms." The shake of my head is interrupted by his stern words. "Let him help you. That is an order from your king." With that, he backs away, lifting the crown slightly. "I look forward to hearing the story behind this. But for now, Rest. I sag against the wall when he strides back into the throne room. Kai is on me in an instant. His arm is sure around my waist, breath warm against my ear. I've got you, Pei. I feel willingly weak with him to hold me, as if strength is a facade only needed when he is not near. And it's that realization that has every moment of the trial flooding back. My eyes fall to the trembling, bloody hands I hold out to him. I've stained my soul again. Shh. He grabs my wrists, pressing those bloody palms against his black tunic. There. Now it's my soul that is stained. I laugh weakly for him, though it sounds more like a sob. Still holding my wrists, he guides those crimson hands around his neck. My eyelids flutter closed when his arms encircle me, warm and comforting. But when my feet leave the ground, they fly open. Easy, he murmurs, hearing the protest I don't say. It would be your wedding day before you made it to your rooms. My head lolls against his shoulder with each step he takes down the hall. I didn't think you would ever speak of my wedding. He swallows. I thought you might not walk through those doors tonight, and it made me realize that I'd much rather spend the rest of my life apart from you, watching at a distance, than without you. I swallow. My throat is dry. You shouldn't be doing this. We're supposed to keep our distance, now more than ever. Yes, he says simply, which is why I'm selfishly stealing this moment. I'm too tired to formulate a response, let alone a coherent thought. He turns a corner, holding me close. I let my eyes wander over his stubbled jaw, over the worry creased between those dark eyebrows. I'm lulled by his even steps, hypnotized by the rhythmic beat of his heart beneath my ear. Turn the handle for me, would you, darling? I must have dozed off, because when I pry open my eyes, we're standing before my bedroom door. I'd rather not kick it down this time, Kai continues. No need to give Andy yet another reason to be pissed with me. Dropping a heavy hand from his shoulder, I fumble for the knob. As soon as I've managed to twist it, Kai is stepping into the room and alarming a distracted Ellie. Oh, Peyton! Her voice is as soft as always, though filled with far more concern than I anticipated. Do I really look that bad? I practically croak. Kai sets me gently on the bed, treating me like I'm as fragile as I feel. His hand cups the back of my neck to ensure my swaying body remains upright on the edge of the mattress. You look like someone who has just done the impossible, he murmurs, face close. I smile, tasting blood on my cracked lips. So I look like hell? If you look like hell, he whispers with a sly grin, then I'm fortunate to be going there. My strained laugh is cut short by the sudden movement over his shoulder. Pulling back, I'm reminded, horrifyingly, that we are not alone. At the color staining my cheeks, Kai turns to find Ellie wide-eyed and paralyzed in the center of the room. Crouching down before me, the enforcer clears his throat in preparation of the soft command about to spew from it. Ellie, get me a pail of warm water and a cloth, please. He says this as if she hasn't just seen what passed between us mere moments ago. As my maid, I suppose it doesn't matter, but as my friend, I'll have some explaining to do. She nods curtly, hurrying towards the bathroom as Kai adds, soap, too. I sit there awkwardly with his hands now braced on either side of my legs. Our eyes meet, mine concerned and his far too content. I give him a look that I hope screams, keep your hands to yourself until she leaves, which I'm quite certain he understands because it's the complete opposite he does next. With a smirk that makes me want to simultaneously kiss and hit him, he slides calloused palms down my thighs. My weak warning look doesn't stop his slow search of my legs. I can't help but smile back at him, and he seems to take that as a sign of encouragement. I'm so distracted by the feel of Kai's hands that I hardly notice Ellie place the pail of water beside him. After setting down a cloth and a bar of soap, she straightens with the clearing of her throat. Kai's eyes are locked on mine. That will be all, Ellie. Thank you. I'll let you know when to send in the healer. With a quick curtsy and a glance in my direction, Ellie swiftly strides from the room, shutting the door behind her. Turning my attention back on the smirking boy before me, I give his chest a good shove. So much for pretending, Prince. He dips the cloth into the pail, shrugging at my words. I'll have the rest of my life to pretend with you. But for now, I needed to keep you alert. You were distracting me, I breathe, eyes dropping to the blood coating my hands. My stained palms are quickly covered by the damp cloth he places over them. And I will happily be your distraction from pain, for as long as you need. The bar of soap is rough against my hands, but I welcome the discomfort. Kai wipes at the scarlet now swirling atop my skin, leaving the towel stained with the blood of strangers. I attempt to swallow the emotion clogging my throat. It's not the pain I need a distraction from. It's the memory of what I did. He threads the cloth between my fingers, ridding my skin of any trace this trial left behind. I know. His voice is saddened with the weight of understanding. It just all starts to feel the same after a while. I'm blissfully numb as he guides my hands into the pail of water, letting the warmth wash over them. I didn't think I'd walk into that throne room tonight either, I whisper. I was ready to die beside Marina in that crypt I fell into. I've never been so terrified, and I've spent my whole life in fear. He's moved to my arms now, guiding the cloth over every speck of dirt and blood splattered there. Pei, we don't have to talk about this now. It was so dark, I breathe, because part of me desperately wants to be free of what haunts the confines of my mind. I've never seen such complete and utter blackness. And the bats. My visible shudder has Kai placing a comforting hand against the small of my back. I watch him clean every claw mark, every nick the beasts gifted me. When the stained cloth reaches the slash across my shoulder, I hiss in pain. He does his best to mop up the blood surrounding it as he murmurs, But you got out. You got the crown. And then you cracked it against a man's skull. When my eyes flick up, they land on his wry smile. I'm assuming. I shake my head at him. How did you... You're not the only one who's observant, little psychic. When his smile only grows, I huff. Well, I didn't enjoy doing it. I know. His gaze softens. I wish I could have done it for you. My voice is tired, reflecting the current state of my body. Does it ever get easier? The bad that supposedly justifies the hope of something good? It hasn't yet, he says with a sigh. But your bad will belong to me when I become your enforcer. And maybe then, when I know you are reaping the good, things will get easier. I shake my head, gaze lingering on that splotch of blood soiling his chest, the place where he had pressed my palms. I don't want to stain your soul further. His smile is sad. There's not much left to stain, darling. It takes all of 3 swipes with the cloth before he's changing the subject. His words hold a certain challenge as he says, What about striding across the throne room? Seeing the looks on all those faces when you put that crown on your head? The gaze he flicks over me is heavy. Did you enjoy that? I loved it. What I settle on instead is, I didn't mind it. He wipes a streak of mud from my jaw, brushing the jagged scar below it. Come on, don't be modest, Gray. Fine, my gaze settles on his. Powerful. It made me feel powerful. Good, he breathes. Focus on that feeling. Not what it took to get to it. My fingers find his free hand. I don't want to gain power if it means I lose myself in the process. He wipes the cloth down my nose, freeing it of blood before flicking the tip with his finger. Everyone loses themselves to something, so make it worthwhile. I let him tilt my head in the dim light. He dabs gently at the bead of dried blood clinging to my temple. And what did you lose yourself to? Duty, loyalty, his lips quirk. A silver-haired pain in the ass. I lean back on my palms, studying him. And you think that's worth it? Losing yourself to an ordinary? As he drops the cloth from my face, I can't quite read his mixture of emotions. Between the two of us, you're the only one who seems to care about that fact. I straighten swiftly, enough to have Kai's hands flattening on my thighs to ensure I stay on the bed. Of course I care. My voice is rough, raw with emotion. I'm weak. I nearly died today and... I place a hand to his cheek, turning his face towards me. Look at me, Kai. Look at what you chose to lose yourself to. I may have seemed strong in that throne room, but I will always be an imposter among the truly powerful. He's shaking his head, hiding his gaze from me. Both of my hands are cupping his face now. I worry about you, Malachi. The sound of his full name has those gray eyes fluttering closed. If I die, stop. If I die, I repeat sternly, I need you to find something else worth losing yourself to. I won't let my impending death be yours as well. I press my forehead to his, voice breaking as I say, promise me that. Please. Pay. His voice is ragged. I would lose my life for you before finding something else worth living for. His fingers weave into my hair, slide along the back of my neck. You are my inevitable, in life and in death. Tears cloud my vision, one of them slipping down my cheek when our mouths meet. He holds me gently, his kiss soft enough to shatter every wall within me. I crumble in his arms. Nothing has ever tasted as sweet as the silent promise on his lips. You are my inevitable. The kiss deepens, and with it a plea with each press of my mouth. I love you. I tell him in the sigh he draws from my lips, in every slow caress across his skin, in every pounding beat of the heart that belongs to him. I love you. He smells of pine and spice and long nights under the willow. I love you. He tastes like a secret I wish to scream, a word on the tip of my tongue that will never be mine to utter. So I say his name instead, as if I could claim him so easily, as if I'm not thinking of 3 damning words when I say it. I love you.
Edric. Edric's arms are covered in blood. That should not bother him. He is a king, after all. History itself is bathed in blood, and it is the kings who shed it. He should be indifferent, stony like his father raised him to be. But this is not some necessary battle, or worthless ordinary. This is... Voices muffle around him, blurring together into one frantic string of words. The queen is dead. Iris's lifeless body lies on the bed. Blood stains once white covers, mars once warm skin. Advisors bicker, healers hover. Fatal stand solemnly beside him. Edric hears none of it. There is a steady ringing in his ears, and for that, he is thankful. His wife is dead. The life has been drained from her body by a mere infant, and there was nothing his healers could do to save her. Now, there is nothing left but a still shell of the woman Edric loved. Well, that isn't entirely true. There is a baby girl in his arms. Her lungs are filled with shrill cries that slip from a small mouth. Again, the king does not mind such a distraction. He shuts bleary eyes, unable to lower them to his daughter below. Only further remnants of his lifeless love lie there. This child shares her mother's piercing gaze, or rather stole it. Those eyes belong to Iris. not the infant who killed her. When the ringing quiets in Edric's ears and the floor threatens to cave in beneath him, there is only one question the king cares to ask. The child is quickly shoved into his silencer's arms. How much power? The 3 words are born of greed, of an unquenchable ache for strength, because nothing is more important to Edric than power. Not anymore. The silencer shudders. What is it, Damien? The king pants. All eyes fall to the 3 fatals under Edric's care. A crease of concentration forms between Damien's brows, followed by a concerning flurry of blinks. He opens his mouth, shuts it. Out with it. The king's command rings about the chamber, cutting through even the thick stench of death. It is the anger and the grief in his voice that pushes the silencer to whisper what may be his own death sentence. Kings have a way of killing the messenger.
She is powerless.